Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Netflix audit. We all know that Netflix has enjoyed a long history of success, but as competition increases and US subscriptions slow, what can they do to continue as the number one streaming service provider? Netflix's journey started in 1997 when they were founded in Scotts Valley, California by Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph. 2 years later, they established their headquarters, as you can see behind me, in Los Gatos, California. In 2002, they went public and sold 5.5 million shares. It wasn't until 4 years later that their competitor, Amazon Unbox, launched a digital video download service. To keep up, Netflix introduced their streaming service 1 year later. It wasn't until 2010 that they entered the international market by expanding to Canada, and later on you'll see what other countries they've expanded to since then. They launched their first original series, House of Cards, in 2013, and in 2017 they acquired Millarworld, Mark Millar's publishing company. More recently, in 2019, the American Consumer Satisfaction Studies revealed that Netflix led in terms of original content among other competitors with a score of 81 out of 100.
Since its launch in 1997, Netflix has become a household name, which helped establish its position as the market leader when it comes to media content and streaming platforms. But with the digital transition we're making as a society, a number of competitors have emerged within the market. While Netflix currently sits at number one with over 192 million subscribers worldwide, Amazon Prime Video is not too far behind with up to 150 million subscribers and counting. Additional market challengers such as Hulu and newcomer Disney Plus have not only proven themselves to thrive as individual entities, but they've also demonstrated success through mutual collaborations and bundling. Within the past year and this current year, we've seen the rollout of many new platforms such as NBC's Peacock, Apple TV Plus, and HBO Max. Though these platforms are fairly new and not as popular as Netflix, their popularity is expected to rise as they begin to grow funding to develop original content, take back their classic shows and movies from other streaming platforms, including Netflix, as well as collaborate with cable companies and their existing customers. Which then brings us to a significant form of additional competition, cable providers. There's still a huge percentage of consumers who have yet to cut the cord completely. Some see no point in paying subscription fees for content that they already have access to, in addition to live sports. And others may be more traditional and just see no need in taking the plunge. Though all of these competitors have something to offer, the verdict is still out on whether or not these companies, as they are, will be enough to outperform Netflix. From a competitive standpoint, Netflix's strategy to maintain their position as market leader will rely heavily on enhancing and fine-tuning its existing user experience, outskilling the competition through innovation, developing content, and captivating the living rooms of global consumers.
Given Netflix's market leader position in the streaming industry, its continued profitability and growth around the world, secondary insights and data are abundant. We decided to take a closer look with a primary research survey to analyze Netflix's US subscriber stability. To do this, we developed a 23-question survey and sent it out to our social media contact groups. Of those we reached out to, 160 participated over a 3-day window. We found out that 96% of respondents streamed TV content in the past 30 days. Netflix was the preferred overall streaming service, as well as with original content and third-party content. We also learned that Netflix was leaving a lot of money on the table as 22% of its viewers were not subscribers. They watched using another subscriber's account. Netflix and Amazon had the most stable subscriber base, with only 2% of Netflix's subscribers saying they would be likely to cancel their subscription in the next 6 months. When we asked what reasons would be the most likely to lead to cancellation, increases in subscription fees was the number one factor. Unresolved customer service issues was a close second. After analyzing both our secondary and primary data, we broke down Netflix's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats as we saw them. Netflix's strengths includes its significant long-term growth. Since 2007, Netflix has grown its annual revenue from $1.36 billion to $15.8 billion. Brand recognition was another strength. It's so widely known, its very brand has become a verb. In 2019, Forbes listed the Netflix brand at $26.76 million. Profitability? In 2019, Netflix enjoyed a $2.6 billion operating profit, which was a 13% profit margin. This was up from 10% in 2018, 7% in 2017, and 6% in 2016. Netflix has performed very well in gaining its international customer base also. Currently, of its 192.9 million overall subscribers, 120 are international. In award-winning content, in 2019, they had 27 Emmy wins and have 160 Emmy nominations for 2020. Its weaknesses include its dependence on third-party content. Only 14% of its entire library is original content, much which comes from a growing amount of Netflix competitors. In 2019, Netflix lost The Office and Friends, and in January of 2020, it lost all Disney content. Increasing debt is another weakness as it continues its go big or go home strategy. Only 2 years ago, its long-term debt was $8.34 billion. In Q2 of 2020, it was nearly double at $15.29 billion. Nearly all of its increasing debt is due to its massive increase in opportunity costs from new original content. Opportunities include acceleration of cord cutting that's being seen all around the world as technologies and infrastructures develop. Acquisitions and alliances. As competitors grow in the streaming industry, so does opportunities to acquire first-to-market businesses and strategic alliances with others. Growing international market is a strength. It's also an opportunity. It's projected that Netflix has the ability to grow its international subscriber base to 173 million by 2025. Threats include increased competition around the world, especially with media powerhouses such as Disney, which owns and operates Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN, and Hotstar, which is very popular in the Asia and South Pacific region. Withdrawal of third-party content is another threat as more companies enter the subscription-based streaming market. With Netflix only having 14% original content, losing quality shows would be extremely serious as it competes. Piracy is another threat, especially overseas, as well as subscription fatigue and global government regulation and its oversight.
Here we see the proposed content spending for 2020 for Netflix and their competitors. As you can see, it's quite a lot. The company plans to spend $16 billion on content in 2020, and the company is clearly generating income, but business analysts are asking, is it worth it? The content acquisition costs are quite high. Netflix executives explain that the spending choices are measured in projected membership growth. It's tricky, as the company must measure the worth of this content that they plan for the following year. The company is working hard to retain domestic subscribers and become a household name internationally. Netflix expanded to 190 countries in 7 years and is available almost everywhere except for China. The company is offering some of Netflix's biggest titles available for free to non-subscribers internationally this fall, which includes a 30-second ad that viewers have the option of skipping. Global subscribers are also responding pretty positively to affordable mobile streaming plans. The company has wisely created partnerships to help forge win-win relationships in many countries with domestic cable services to offer on-demand movies to subscribers. Domestically, partnerships with companies like T-Mobile create a valuable proposition to customers shopping for cell phone providers as well. And the company hopes to retain and gain subscribers through production of original, thoughtful content. All successful companies have their challenges, however. Some of these are related to the following, like sharing accounts. According to broader research outside of our team's research sample, an estimated 41% of subscribers share account. How can Netflix compensate for this loss of revenue? Recent research estimates that $9 billion is lost annually amongst all the streaming providers, and that number is expected to rise to nearly $12 billion in the next few years. And the younger you are, the more likely you are to share an account. Also, secondary data research suggests that consumers are happy overall with their streaming experience. However, people make the switch. As new entrants crowd the market with desirable content, broader studies indicate that while, yes, users are satisfied, over half of those surveyed are still looking for the next big thing, and they would downgrade or terminate one of their current video services in favor of another. Loss of third-party content is a fairly new issue, as competitors pull the production, and 14% of Netflix's current library is original content. They're looking globally, but they can't take over the world just yet. The company has to navigate pricing considerations and infrastructural challenges as well as create content that is culturally significant in countries as well as in specific regions. So they've got their work cut out for them. The company is doing a lot right, but we still have a few recommendations. Research indicates that despite increased streaming behaviors like binging content, consumers are still pretty cost sensitive. The market simply cannot support an unlimited number of streaming options. Research indicates that a lower monthly cost has the strongest influence on a customer's decision to subscribe or not to a service, and high costs are largely responsible for subscription cancellations. Netflix will need to maintain a balance of desirable content and competitive pricing to remain in the top spot domestically and offer affordable plans to global subscribers who are accustomed to watching television for free. With so much competition in the streaming industry, pricing will be increasingly key to customer acquisition, churn, and success. Globally, Netflix can continue to grow and gain market share by penetrating new and diverse markets. And Netflix's global campaign should aim high. With potentially 100 million new subscribers in India alone, the push has been for affordability and content development, as the firm struggles to compete with Disney Plus and Z5, the country's top streaming and broadcasting provider. We suggest exploring partnership options in these global markets to provide local market knowledge, access, and legitimacy with governments and potential customers. With China close to streaming, India is a competitive battleground with $5 million in predicted revenue. We recommend collaboration with domestic digital content providers to increase this market share.